Just watch the live stream, Mom. Stay invisible. Those were the last words my daughter Natalie said to me before her wedding. The wedding I paid for, the wedding I wasn't allowed to attend, the wedding that would end with her new father-in-law standing up at the reception and destroying her perfect fairy tale with 7 words. I need to thank someone who isn't here. What Natalie didn't know was that the man whose family she was so desperate to impress had been searching for me for 23 years. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you how a poor-looking mother from rural Tennessee ended up watching her own daughter's wedding on a laptop screen, only to have the groom's billionaire father expose the truth in front of 300 guests. My name is Loretta Mae Bishop. I'm 59 years old, and I've spent most of my life working with my hands. Cleaning houses, washing dishes, scrubbing floors, taking care of other people's children while my own grew up too fast. I wasn't always poor. There was a time before Natalie was born when I had a different life. A life with promise, with possibilities, with a future that didn't involve calloused hands and aching knees. But that's a story for later. I raised Natalie alone in a small town called Cedar Hollow, about 40 miles outside of Nashville. Her father left when she was 2, just walked out one morning and never came back. No note, no explanation, no forwarding address. One day I had a husband. The next day I had a stack of bills and a toddler who kept asking where Daddy went. I did what I had to do. Took every job I could find. Cleaned houses during the day, waited tables at night. When Natalie started school, I picked up weekend shifts at the local laundromat, folding other people's clothes while mine piled up at home. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest. And I made sure Natalie never went hungry, never went without school supplies, never felt like she was less than anyone else. Maybe that was my mistake. Maybe I protected her too much from reality, because somewhere along the way, my daughter started to be ashamed of me. It started small, the way these things always do. When Natalie was in middle school, she asked me to drop her off a block away from the building. I like the walk, she said. But I saw how she looked around to make sure no one was watching before she got out of our beat-up Honda. In high school, she stopped inviting friends over. Our trailer wasn't good enough, she said. Too small, too old, too embarrassing. It's just temporary, I told her. Once I save enough, we'll get a real house. Sure, Mom.
She didn't believe me.
I didn't believe me either. But I kept working.
Kept saving.
Kept dreaming that someday, things would be different. Natalie was smart, the smartest person I've ever known. She graduated top of her class and got a full scholarship to Vanderbilt University in Nashville. I cried the day she got that letter. All those years of struggle, and my daughter was going to have the life I never could. I'm going to be somebody, Mom, she told me. I'm going to make something of myself. You already are somebody, sweetheart. You're my daughter. She hugged me then, but even in that moment, I felt her pulling away, like she was already leaving Cedar Hollow behind, and me along with it. College changed Natalie. Or maybe it just revealed who she'd always been underneath. She stopped coming home for weekends, then holidays, then summers. She got internships in New York, study abroad programs in London, research positions that kept her busy year-round. I saw her maybe twice a year, and each time, she seemed more like a stranger. She also got a new way of speaking.
Polished.
Practiced. All the Tennessee scrubbed out of her voice like it was dirt under her fingernails. Mom, you really should work on your grammar, she told me once, during one of her rare visits. The way you talk, it's very regional. Regional? Country.
Hillbilly.
You know what I mean. I did know, and it hurt more than I let her see. After Vanderbilt, Natalie got a job at a big consulting firm in Atlanta. Then she moved to New York. Then San Francisco. She climbed the corporate ladder so fast it made my head spin. By the time she was 30, she was a vice president at some tech company I'd never heard of, making more money in a month than I made in a year. I was proud of her. God help me, I was so proud. My daughter. The success story. The girl from the trailer park who made it big. But the higher she climbed, the further away she got from me. Then she met Jonathan. Jonathan Whitmore III. Even the name sounded like money. Old money. The kind of money that came with country club memberships and summer homes and ancestors who arrived on the Mayflower. Natalie called me to share the news, her voice giddy in a way I hadn't heard since she was a little girl. Mom, I met someone. He's amazing. His family is, well, they're the Whitmores. You've probably never heard of them, but they're a big deal. His father owns like half of Manhattan. That's wonderful, sweetheart. When do I get to meet him? There was a pause. Just a beat too long.
Soon, Mom. Soon.
Things are just really busy right now. Soon turned into 6 months. Then a year. Then 2 years. I met Jonathan exactly once, at a restaurant in Nashville that Natalie chose because it was neutral territory. He was polite enough, tall, handsome, expensive suit, but he looked at me the way you might look at a stain on the carpet. Something to be acknowledged briefly, and then ignored. It's nice to meet you, Mrs. Bishop, he said, shaking my hand like he was afraid he might catch something. Please call me Loretta. Of course. He never did. The dinner was awkward. Jonathan talked about his family's charitable foundation, their art collection, their vacation properties in Aspen and the Hamptons. I talked about my garden, my church group, my neighbor's new puppy. We had nothing in common except Natalie, and even she seemed like a different person when she was sitting next to him. Laughing at jokes I didn't understand. Using words I'd never heard. Pretending she'd never set foot in Cedar Hollow. At the end of the dinner, Jonathan excused himself to take a call, and Natalie leaned across the table. Mom, I need you to do me a favor. When you meet Jonathan's family, just don't talk too much, okay? And maybe we can get you some new clothes before then. Something more appropriate. Appropriate.
You know what, man, Liz? She gestured vaguely at my outfit, and his blouse and slacks he devoted special for the catching. Les on my mother looking. He didn't say anything. What could he say? My daughter was ashamed of me, and we both knew it. The engagement came 6 months later. Jonathan proposed at some fancy restaurant in Paris, with a ring that probably cost more than my trailer. Natalie sent me a photo, and I cried, partly from joy, partly from something else I couldn't name. I'm so happy for you, sweetheart, I told her on the phone. Thanks, Mom. Listen, we need to talk about the wedding. Of course, whatever you need, I'm here. If events having up, and I know it won't be much, but... Mom, Jonathan family is paying for everything. It's going to be at their estate in Connecticut. Very exclusive. Very again. That sounds beautiful. Used me when and where, and I be there. Another pause. Long hair this time. About that, Mom, I need to ask you something, and I need you to really listen. I'm listening. The Whitmores are, they're a certain kind of people. They have expectations, standards, and they work really hard to fit into their world. It can't have anything jeopardizing that. What are you saying, Natalie? I'm saying. She took a deep breath. I'm saying that maybe it would be better if you didn't come to the wedding. The words hit me like a physical blow. You don't want me at your wedding. It's not that I don't want you there. It's you, Mom, you won't fit in. Your clothes, the way you talk, your whole vibe. Jonathan's family will notice. They ask questions. And I can't have my past following me into my future. Your past? Natalie, I'm your mother. I know. And I love you. But I love Jonathan too. And this is the most important day of my life. I can't risk it. Risk it? What exactly do you think I'm going to do? Embarrass you? Yes. She said it flatly, without hesitation. Yes, that's exactly what I think. You did show up in some bargain store dress, talking about your garden and your church group, and everyone would know. They didn't know it came from nothing. They didn't know I'm not really one of them. I felt tears streaming down my face. You did come from nothing, Natalie. We both did. That's nothing to be ashamed of. Maybe not for you, but I have a different life now. A better life. And I can't let you drag me back down. Drag you down? I worked 3 hopes to put food on your table. I sold my wedding ring to pay for your prom dress. And I appreciate that. I do. But that was then. This is now. And right now. I need you to do this one thing for me. Stay home. Watch the livestream. Be happy for me from a distance. Natalie, please, mom, use this 11. Stay invisible. You have the phone anchored for 3 hours straight. The wedding was scheduled for June 15 at the Whitmore Estate in Greenwich, Connecticut. 300 guests, a 12-piece orchestra, flowers flown in from Holland. The whole thing probably cost more than the earning 10 lifetimes. I watched it on my laptop, sitting alone in my trailer in Cedar Hollow. Natalie looked beautiful, like a princess from a fairy tale. Her dress was custom-made, her hair was perfect, her smile was radiant. She walked down the aisle on the arm of Jonathan's uncle, because her own father was gone and her mother was unavailable. That's what the program said. I saw it later, posted on social media. The bride's mother was unable to attend due to health reasons. Health reasons. That was the least she told. Not that her mother was too poor, too country, too embarrassing. Used health reasons. I watched my daughter marry a stranger in a house he didn't never see, surrounded by people who didn't know he existed. Annie cried, va quietly this time. I was getting upset of being invisible. Then came the reception. The livestream continued into the reception, showing the happy couple at the sweetheart table, the elegant guests mingling with champagne glasses, the stunning ballroom decorated like something from a movie. I was about to close my laptop and go to bed when Jonathan's father stood up to give a toast. Richard Whitmore. It is in photos of him, silver-eyed, distinguished, the kind of man who looked like they never worked a hard day in his life. He ran one of the largest investment firms on Wall Street, owned properties on 3 continents, and had been featured on the cover of Forbes more times than he could count. He tapped his glass, and the room fell silent. Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Richard Whitmore, Jonathan's father and the proud patriarch of this wonderful family. Polite laughter. Natalie beamed. I want to start by welcoming Natalie into our family. My son has found a remarkable woman, intelligent, ambitious, driven. Says everything we could have hoped for in a daughter in love. Natalie's smile widened. Jonathan squeezed her hand. But before he told the happy couple, he need to do something else. Something he been waiting to do for a very long time. A pause, and something shifted in the room. The atmosphere changed. I need to thank someone who isn't here tonight. On my laptop screen, I saw Natalie's smile flicker. Used slightly. A crack in the perfect facade. 23 years ago, he was a different man. Not the Richard Whitmore you see today. He was young, stupid, and reckless. He made mistakes, terrible mistakes, and he had people who didn't deserve to be had. The room was completely silent now. Even through the screen, he could feel the tension. 23 years ago, he was driving drunk on a back road in Tennessee. He was speeding, he was reckless, and he ran a red light. He hit another car, a small Honda with a young motor inside. It was fine. My expensive car protected me, but the other driver, I wasn't so lucky. I felt my blood turn to ice. No, it couldn't be. It destroyed that woman's life. The accident left her with permanent injuries, chronic pain, limited mobility, medical bills that would haunt her for years. She was a single mother, working 3 jobs to support her daughter, and it took everything from her. Her health, her savings, her future. On the screen, Natalia's face had gone pale. It was never charged. My family's lawyers made sure of that. Whipped of the police, buried the report, made the whole thing disappear. It was 20 years old, and he learned that money could buy anything, including freedom from consequences. Richard's voice cracked slightly. I've carried that guilt for 23 years. I've tried to make amends in my own way, charitable donations, anonymous funds, things that help me sleep at night. But he never found the woman he had. He didn't even know her name. Used that she was a young mother from Cedar Hollow, Tennessee, and he had destroyed her life. He turned to look directly at Natalie. Then, 6 months ago, my son brought home his fiancée, Natalie Bishop, and he recognized the name. Bishop, Cedar Hollow. It couldn't be a coincidence. It couldn't breathe. He hired a private investigator. y neither to know the truth. And what he found? A pose, his boy sick with emotion. What he found was that the woman he hit 23 years ago was Loretta Bishop, Natalie's mother. The mother who isn't here tonight because her own daughter told her she was too poor and too embarrassing to attend. Gasps rippled through the crowd. On the screen, Natalie looked like she made fun. He found something else at all. Something about Loretta Bishop that puts every single person in this room to shame. He pulled out a piece of paper. After the accident, Loretta Bishop was left with 47,000 pesos in medical debt. She had no insurance, no savings, no husband. She was 26 years old with a 4-year-old daughter and chronic pain that could never fully heal. Most people would have given up. Most people would have declared bankruptcy, applied for disability, let the system take care of them. Loretta didn't do that. Loretta Bishop worked. She cleaned houses with a back that screamed in pain every single day. She waited tablets on feet that were so badly she could barely walk. She took every hope she could find, no matter how menial, no matter how exhausting, because she had a daughter to raise. And you know what she did with the little money she managed to save. She looked around the room. She put her daughter through school. She paid for tutors, for SAT prep, for college application fees. When Natalie got into Vanderbilt, Loretta saw the only thing of value left, her mother's engagement ring, a family heirloom that had been passed down for 4 generations, to pay for the expenses the school didn't take over. Tears were streaming down my face. How did I know all this? Loretta Bishop gave everything, so her daughter could have a better life. And how did that daughter repay her? His voice hardened. By telling her she was too embarrassing to attend her own wedding. By lying to everyone here and saying her mother held reasons for missing the most important day of her life. By being so ashamed of the woman who sacrificed everything that she couldn't even let her sit in the back row. The room was silent. Natalie was crying now, mascara running down her face. He spent 23 years trying to find the woman he hit so he could apologize, so he could make things right. And tonight, he finally had the chance. He held up his phone. Loretta, I know you were watching the livestream. I made sure of it. I need you to know that I am sorry. I am so deeply, profoundly sorry for what I did to you, and I am even more sorry for what your daughter has done. He turned to face Jonathan. Son, I love you, but I cannot stand by while your wife treats her own mother this way. No amount of money, no social status, no family name is worth abandoning the woman who gave you life. Jonathan looked stunned. He turned to Natalie, who was shaking uncontrollably. Richard, please, Natalie started. I'm not finished. His voice was still. Natalie, you have revealed your entire life on your mother's sacrifice, and you repaid her with shame and cruelty. That ends tonight. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a check. This is a check for $5 million, made out to Loretta Bishop. It won't undo what he did 23 years ago, but it will give her the security she deserves, the security she so loved all alone. Another gasp from the crowd. And as for you, Natalie, yet my lawyers draw up a new prenuptial agreement. If you want to remain part of this family, you will sign it. It includes a clause that gives your mother full access to you, holidays, versus any family event she wants to attend. If you ever exclude her again, if you ever treat her with anything less than the respect she deserves, your merit to my son is over, and you live with nothing. Natalia's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. He said yes, you called your mother. Tonight, and beg for her forgiveness. He set down his glass. To the breathe and groan. Might you both learn that family isn't about money or status. It's about love. It's about sacrifice. It's about showing up for the people who showed up for you. He walked away from the microphone, leaving 300 guests in stunned silence. My phone rang 5 minutes later. He stared at the screen. Natalia's name. Natalia's face. The same face that had told me to stay invisible. He let it ring. It rang again, and again, and again. On the 5th call, he answered. Mom? Natalia's voice was broken, barely recognizable. Mom, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please, you have to believe me. I relieve you sorry you go cold. No, Mom, that's not. You told me to stay invisible, Natalie. You told me good embarrass you. You told me my clothes, my voice, my whole existence was a threat to your perfect life. It was wrong. It was so wrong. Please, Mom. You need to 300 people about why I wasn't there. All reasons. Like it was me invalid current with other ways. Like 26 years of sacrifice meant nothing. I know it did. And I had myself for it. Please, Mom, just let me explain. Explain what? That you're ashamed of where you come from? I knew that, even known it for years. But I never told you they go this far. I never told you the ban from your wedding. Silence on the other end. You was crying. Mom, I was scared. Jonathan family so, and I felt like I had to be perfect. Like any reminder of my real life could ruin everything. Your real life? Natalie, I am your real life. I am the woman who held you when you cried, who worked herself out of that so you could have opportunities you never did. I am the woman who loved you when your own father abandoned you, and you threw me away like it was garbage. I am sorry. I don't know what else to say. I am sorry. I closed my eyes. Sorry isn't enough, Natalie. Not this time. What can I do? Tell me what I can do to fix this. I don't know if you can fix it, but you can start by coming home. Not to the estate, not to your penthouse. Home. Cedar Hollow. The trailer you rest so ashamed of. You can sit in my kitchen and look me in the eye and tell me why you thought it wasn't good enough. Y ella come. Tomorrow. Y ella vive tomorrow. We ella see. You nap. Natalie came to Cedar Hollow 3 days later. Not the next day like I promised. Her flight got delayed. So I said, Toby's expected she needed time to prepare herself for the road of returning to her roots. She pulled up in a rental car, nothing fancy, in no Otis. Maybe that was intentional. It was her get out and stand in the driveway, looking at the trailer where she grew up. It was small. Yeah, old. The paint was peeling, and the porch steps needed fixing. But it was mine. I bought it 10 years ago, and nobody could take it from me. Natalie walked up to the door. She was wearing simple clothes, jeans, a plain blouse. No designer labels visible. Her face was free of makeup, and she looked younger somehow. More like the girl I remembered. Mom. She stood on the porch, hands clasped in front of her. Can I come in? I stepped aside. We sat at my kitchen table. The same table where I helped her with homework, where we eaten thousands of meals together, where I told her about the school syrup that changed her life. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then Natalie broke. I don't know when it happened, she said, tears streaming down her face. When I started being ashamed. I think it was gradual. Every time someone abandoned was scared about my family, and I had to explain that my mom cleaned houses. Every time I went to a friend's home and saw how they live. Every time I realized how different it was from everyone else. Being different isn't something to be ashamed of. I know that now. But back then, Mom, I just wanted to fit in. I wanted to be like everyone else. And the only way I knew how to do that was to pretend my past didn't exist. Your past is me, Natalie. Your past is this trailer, and Cedar Hollow, and the very sacrifice I made so you could have a future. I know. She was having now. I know, and I had myself. When Richard started talking at the reception, when I said your name, Mom, my whole world collapsed. Because I realized that everyone in that room knew the truth. Not just that I came from poverty, but that I had abandoned the woman who gave me everything. And how did that feel? Like I deserved it. Like every terrible thing that happened was exactly what I had coming. I looked at my daughter, this successful, polished, perfectly put together woman, crying at my kitchen table like I was 5 years old again. What happened after the reception? Natalie wiped her eyes. It was chaos. As the guests left immediately, the other half spent the whole night whispering. Jonathan was furious, not at his father, at me. I said little to him about my background. Made him think my mother was a strand for good reasons. What did you tell him about me? I told him you were difficult. that we had a complicated relation, sir. That it was better if we kept our distance. She laughed bitterly. Eveliv me vecausé guantito velieve me. Vecausé guesi sierdanas kin questions. And now I knows the truth. And knows a little about you, little about my past, little about everything. It says it needs time to think about whether can trust me. Can it? Natalie looked at me with red eyes. I don't know. I don't even know if I can trust myself anymore. We sat in silence for a while. The clock on the wall ticked. Outside, very unlikely they didn't know anything was wrong. Mom, I need to tell you something else. What? Richard checked the $5 million. I told him to send it to you directly. He didn't touch it. I don't want a single penny of it. You already know about the check. It arrived 2 days ago, along with a handwritten letter from Richard Whitmore apologizing again for the accident and asking if a call met me in person Sunday. Why didn't you want the money? Because it should be yours. I love it. You earned it with 23 years of pain. And because she paused, struggling to find words. Because I needed you to know that I'm not here for money. I'm here because I was wrong. Because I loved you. Because I want my mother back, even if I don't deserve her. I felt something shift in my chest. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But something. When I was in the hospital after the accident, he said slowly, the doctors told me Mick never walk again. The damage to my spine was severe. They said his soul prepared for life in a wheelchair. Natalia's face crumpled. But I couldn't tell that. I had you, a 2-year-old who needed her mama. So I did the physical therapy, even when it felt like my back was on fire. I learned to walk again, even though every step hit. And when the bills came, bills I couldn't pay, I took every hobby could find, because giving up wasn't an option. Mom, I didn't know. I never told you. I didn't want you to grow up with that burden. I wanted you to feel normal, to have a chance at a regular childhood. So I achieved the pain. Ismail threw it. I let you believe that everything was fine. I reached across the table and took her hand. I did all of that because I loved you. Because a mother's hope is to give her children a better life than I had. And you did have a better life, Natalie. You graduated from a top university. You have a successful career. You married into a wealthy family. By every measure, you succeeded. But I failed you. Yes, you did. I didn't soften it. She needed to hear the truth. But you are still my daughter. And I still love you. I don't know how to stop, even when you hit me, even when you break my heart. Natalie fell into my arms, sobbing like a child. I held her, stroking her hair, remembering all the times I had done this before, after nightmares, after scrapped knees, after broken hearts. Some things never change. I'm sorry, Mama, she whispered. I'm so sorry. I know, baby, I know. The next few months were complicated. Natalia and Jonathan separated for a while. I needed time to process her lies, and she needed time to figure out who she really was without the facade she built. Richard Whitmore came to visit me in Cedar Hollow. I drove up in a car that cost more than my trailer and sat on my porch drinking sweet tea, looking completely out of place and not caring at all. I've thought about you every day for 23 years. It told me, wonder who you were, if you were okay, if you'd ever forgive me. Do you want my forgiveness? I don't know if I deserve it, but I want you to know that I spent my life trying to be a better man than I was that night, trying to make up for what I did, even though we know I never fully can. I looked at the silver-eyed winner, sitting on my worn-out porch furniture, and I saw something I hadn't expected. Genuine remorse. You changed my life that night, he said. You took my health, my savings, my security. For a long time, I was angry. So angry I couldn't distract. You had every right to be. But anger don't pay bills. Anger don't raise a child. So I let it go. Iato, or it would have consumed me. Richard nodded slowly. I'm not going to say forgive you, he continued. I'm not sure forgiveness works that way, for something this big. But I will say that I don't hate you, and I appreciate what you did at the wedding. It was the first time anyone had ever stood up for me like that. It was the last I coldo, literally the last. We talked 4 hours that day, about the accident, about the years after, about his guilt and my struggle. It was strange, finding common ground with a man who had hit me so badly. But life is strange like that. Before I left, Richard handed me a business card. If you ever need anything at all, call this number, day or night. I don't need your money. I know, but you make need a friend. I need like to be that if you will let me. I took the card. Natalie and Jonathan got back together eventually. Not the same as before. The illusion was shattered, and they had to build something new on the ruins of what she pretended to be. But this time, it was part of it. It went to Connecticut for Thanksgiving. Sarah the Whitmore table with Alte wealthy friends and fancy food. It wore a dressy boat at her head, and it thought about my garden and my church group, and nobody looked at me like it was a stand on the carpet. Because Richard and Marie Claire, Loretta Bishop was family, and anyone who treated me with disrespect good and swear to him. Natalie sat next to me at dinner, holding my hand under the table like I used to when she was a little girl scared of thunderstorms. Thank you for coming, Mom, she whispered. Thank you for inviting me. I should have invited you to the wedding. I should have been proud to have you there. Yes, you should have. I never make that mistake again. I squeezed her hand. I know you want it. It's been 2 years since the wedding. 2 years since Richard Whitmore stood up in front of 300 people and exposed my daughter's sham. A lot has changed. I still live in Cedar Hollow. I like it here, despite everything. But I have a new trailer now, and it's double with the Wissac selection and a porch that don't crack. Richard wanted to buy me a mansion, but I told him no. This is my home. Natalie visits every month. Sometimes Jonathan comes too. Though is still a little awkward around me. That's okay. We're working on it. Richard and I have become unlikely friends. He calls every Sunday to check on me, sends flowers on my birthday, flew me out to New York to see a Broadway show for my 60th birthday. It's strange, being friends with a man who almost killed me. But life is stranger than fiction, isn't it? The $5 million is sitting in a trust, earning interest. Even donated some to the local church. Set up a scholarship fund for kids from Cedar Hollow who went to go to college. Bought my neighbor a new car when hers broke down. I don't need much for myself. Never have. But the best thing, the thing that money can't buy, is that my daughter finally sees me. Not as an embarrassment, not as a burden, not as a past to be hidden. Used as her mother. The woman who loved her through everything. Last week, Natalie gave me with news. Mom, I'm pregnant. I burst into tears. Happy tears, for the first time in years. We want you in the delivery room, she said. We want you there for all of it. First steps, first words, first everything. I want my child to know their grandmother. Either like that, I managed to say through the sobbing. And Mom, yes, I'm going to tell them everything. About Cedar Hollow, about the trailer, about how hard you worked. I want my child to know where they come from. I want them to be proud of it. I couldn't speak, couldn't find the words. I love you, Mom. I'm sorry took me so long to say it properly. I love you too, baby. I always have. The wedding livestream is still online somewhere. Even never watched it again. Once it was an oak. But sometimes, late at night, I think about that moment when Richard stood up and said those 7 words. I need to thank someone who isn't here. For 23 years, I was invisible. To the man who hit me. To the system that failed me. To the daughter who was ashamed of me. But I'm not invisible anymore. And I never will be again. My name is Loretta Mae Bishop. I am 61 years old. My daughter ran me from her wedding because I was too poor looking to fit in with her new family. But her father-in-law recognized me, not as an embarrassment, not as a burden, as a survivor, as a mother, as a woman worth honoring. And in the end, that recognition meant more than any fancy wedding ever could. Sometimes I sit on my new porch and watch the sunset over Cedar Hollow. The summer sunset I've watched for 30 years, through good times and bad, through pain and healing. I think about the young woman you said to be 26 years old, newly abandoned by her husband, trying to figure out how to raise a child alone. I think about the night of the accident, the screech of tears, the impact that changed everything. I think about the years that followed, the endless work, the constant pain, the determination to give Natalie a better life. Was it worth it? People ask me that sometimes. Was all that suffering worth it? I look at my daughter now, her hand resting on her growing belly, her eyes bright with a joy and testing in years. I look at the relationship we were rebuilding, brick by brick, conversation by conversation. I look at the grandchild they is on all in my arms. Yes, it was worth it, not the pain. I won't wish that on anyone, not the years of being invisible, of being ashamed, of watching my daughter drift away from me. But the love, the sacrifice, the choice to keep going even when everything seemed hopeless, that was always worth it. That's what matters though. We endure, we persist, we love, even when it hurts, even when we're invisible, because we know that somehow, that love will matter. That love will be seen. And it was. One more thing. Last month, Natalie asked me to help her write her birth plan. She wants a natural delivery, minimal intervention, quiet music in the background. And it wants you there, Mom, holding my hand, just like you held my hand through everything else. Even the parts where you pushed me away. She smiled sadly. Even those parts. You were still there, weren't you? Even when it didn't deserve it. It was. It always was. That's what matters though. We stay. Even when we were told to stay invisible. We stay. I kept a photo on my nightstand now. It's from last Christmas, the first one I spent with David Morris. In the picture, I'm sitting on a velvet couch in their Greenwich mansion, wearing my target dress and my comfortable shoes. Natalie is on one side of me, Jonathan on the other. Richard stands behind us, his hand on my shoulder. We real smiles, no posed ones. The frame around that photo cost more than my old coach. Richard bought it for me. I didn't grab with words. Family isn't about where you come from. It's about where you belong. You belong somewhere now. After 61 years of struggling, of surviving, of being invisible, I finally belong. And it only took my daughter's worst betrayal to make it happen. Funny how life works sometimes. The other day, a young mother from church came to me for advice. Her son had just gotten into jail, full score reserved, and they was already talking about how a couldn't what to live either Halloween. Ese es chamo fuese, he said. Tears in her eyes. I can't see it. I want to bring his friends home. I corrects my grammar. He looks at our house like it's a prison. He took her hands in mine. Let him go, he said. Let him build his new life. Let him make his mistakes. And when he realizes what is lost, and it will be there to welcome him home. What if he never comes back? It will. They always do. It just takes some of them longer than others. She looked at me with desperate hope. How do you know? Because they leave it, and my daughter came back. Broken and ashamed and begging for forgiveness, but she came back. And you forgave her. I thought about that question. Really thought about it. I'm still working on it, I admitted. Forgiveness isn't a moment. It's a process. Some days are easier than others. But I'm trying. An's trying. And that's all we can do. The young mother hugged me, and held her while she cried. That's what this community does. We all each other. We lift each other up. We survive. Together. Natalie calls me every night now. Sometimes we talk 4 hours. Sometimes use a few minutes. But she always calls. I'm scared, Mom, she admitted last week. What if I'm a terrible mother? What if you do to my child what he did to you? You won't. How do you know? Because you're asking that question. Terrible mothers don't worry about being terrible. They use that. The fact that you're scared means you care. And caring is a first step. But the second step. Showing up every day, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when your child pushes you away. You show up anyway. Like you did for me. Like he did for you. There was a long pause on the phone. Mom, I need to tell you something. Something I've never said before. What is it? I am proud of you. I know that sounds strange, coming from me. I spent so many years being ashamed. But now, looking back, Mom, you're the strongest person I've ever known. You went through hell, and you never complained. You sacrificed everything, and you never asked for anything back. You loved me even when I didn't deserve it. I felt tears rolling down my cheeks. That's what matters, though, I whispered. I know, and I want to be like you. Not the way it was, sham, hiding, pretending. I want to be actually like you. Strong, resilient, full of love that don't give up. You will be, baby. You already are. I love you, Mom. I love you too. Always have, always will.